There is a thin line between respect and relatability. Discipline. Have standards for yourself, darling. Set some rules in place that if people cross this line, I know they do again, no? Discipline. In other words, respect yourself for people to respect you. Because standards are not for the other person. No. Standards is for yourself. Hi, my name is Brema Ikiriko. For those who know me, it's your girl Ramsey. Okay, you must be wondering, what are we here to discuss about? Well, I'm going to get into it. A concern has been brought to our table. Something about adults, something about respect. Basically, the topic is, have adults become too relatable to be respected? Some of you might be asking, what does this mean? What's this girl bringing up now? Well, I'm going to explain it to you. Basically, the topic means, all these social media, Instagram, Facebook. Of course, you should know how your parents are now always on social media. Well, we are here to discuss whether is their online, they are being woke now. They want to know what Gen Z people are talking about. Is it making them too relatable to be respected? Think about it. I'll just give you some time to think about it. You must be wondering, where is this coming from? I think we were on our own scale as brought this discussion. Calm down and listen. The gist came from this story.
Evening, guys.
We actually passed through inani markets. Actually came across this noisy environment where we're hearing words like mommy this, why are you fighting with this little girl that you brought to this page? What? Can this be tried? This can only be tried by people who don't have self-discipline, and who weren't trained or practiced. But what's your own take in this? That is why that particular event goes towards the topic: have adults become too relatable to be respected? You can actually ask yourself this question.
Could have prompted a teenage girl of 18 years thereabouts to publicly get into a fight with her madam. This is what we call a public assault. I kept wondering what could have prompted that, what gave her the guts and the effrontery to do such a thing to a madam who is more or less considered a guide, her guide or a parent. Who's somebody that feeds her, somebody that clothes her, somebody that houses her, gives her shelter. So I was wondering, why should she do this? What could have prompted this outburst of emotion? To me, I feel or I think that she has no right to do that. On no account should she disrespect an elder, talking of somebody that she calls madam, somebody that she lives under. If the madam has done something really bad to her, there are other ways she could have handled the situation. Let's assume the madam said it and was beating her in public. You can run away, call for help, shout for help, rather than facing her, standing face to face with your madam, hooking her on her clothes and engaging in a fight with her in public. That's outrightly wrong and out of place. I even heard that a passerby was like making a nasty statement like, madam, now this girl where you bring come from village with a fight. Why such a statement in front of the girl? Are you trying to encourage her or encourage what she's doing? So I don't see any moral justification to what that girl did, regardless of whatever it is the madam must have done to her. There are other ways to handle these issues instead of giving her that public embarrassment and public disgrace. That's time and assaults. So I think she lacks respect. She lacks regard. She has a very poor upbringing, training, whatever. She needs to be turned. She needs to be corrected. The madam has every right to correct you when you do something wrong. When you misbehave, she has the right to correct you. You have no moral justification to fight her. Can you fight your mother? You should see your madam as your mother because she's not taking the responsibility of your parent at that point in time. So that thing you can't do to your parent, why do it to her? So she should be cautioned, and generally this attitude should be called before it escalates and goes overboard. Thank you.
So they said that Mama Nkechi and her sales girl, they saw them fighting, exchanging words, wing bass boss, going Fuji house of commotion. The person that gave me this was not saying there was respect in the whole situation. Even if Mama Nkechi has done this girl something, doesn't call for that kind of thing. Where is respect in our days? Is that so? It brings us back to our topic. Adults become too relatable, too Instagramming, too social media, too Facebooking to be respected. Let's get serious because I want to actually give you guys my thoughts on it. Basically, here's what I think. I was actually asking the question: are human beings actually created to respect? I had this conversation with some people, and the responses were, if you're talking about how we were created in the Bible, all of that, you can't say human beings were not created to respect. God created Adam and Eve to be respectful. And I'm like, cool, down. I studied philosophy, right? I'm really, really open to controversy. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm open to controversy. Back to my question: are human beings actually created to respect? Now, here's what I think is the answer to that. It occurred to me that I actually don't know the meaning of this respect. I went to AI. That's what AI told me. I'm just going to paraphrase because I don't really have any. I'm just talking from my brain. That's how smart I am. AI basically told me that respect is the feeling, the expression of admiration, holding someone to high esteem, deference. Deference is like when you succumb to someone's authority, like, okay, this person should actually lead me. So that's when you show those attributes to a certain person because of their achievements, what you like about them, their values. So when I ask the question, were human beings created to respect? I would say yes. At the same time, I would say no. Calm down. Because human beings were created to admire. Of course, human beings were created to hold people to high esteem. Yes. Then, last but not least, deference. People actually choose to allow people to lead them, and that is the attribute of choice. Yes. So, in essence, based on grounding qualities of respect, you could say kind of have the attributes to give respect to somebody. But, big but there, we have the choice to decide who we want to respect. If I don't admire this person, how will I respect the person? And from the definition of respect, the person ought to have some certain level of value that I've placed on them through their character, disposition, the way they keep themselves. They ought to have that, show that, for me to like say, oh, I admire this person for this. I hold this person in high esteem for this. I don't know if you get my point. When I started puzzling the definition of respect, I then started thinking, what exactly do they mean by have adults become too relatable to be respected? Because if I'm supposed to admire someone, hold someone to high esteem, it means that regardless of whether the person is relatable or not, as a matter of fact, person's relatability, I'm speaking too much English. Anywho, the person's relatability is not supposed to hinder my respect for the person if I admire that of the person. My thought. Anyways, I started to think, where does respect emanate from as a duty? I hope you understand the drift. Respect as nature from admiration, esteem, and then there is respect from a duty. Like, oh, you ought to respect this person. I started doing some research by force respect. Where did it come from? I saw culture. Obviously there, because African culture is, oh, respect your elders. I saw family. Respect your father, respect your mother. I also saw religion. So let me just say etc. So you realize that all of these things are standards put in place that this person should obey these standards. Started occurring to me that it's something that is missing inside this place. Finally, I was able to point my hand on it. Guess what it was? Discipline. I'm going to tell you guys the definition of discipline. I just want you guys to get to it. I know anytime we mention the word discipline, all we think of is, I will discipline you. Calm down. That is not the only definition of discipline. The first, as a matter of fact, the first definition of discipline is actually a practice of adhering to a set of rules, a set of standards, a set of principles in order to achieve a certain goal. Takes us back to culture, religion, family. Those are standards put in place in order to achieve a certain goal. What is that certain goal? That children become respectful. In all along, what they've been practicing is discipline. So I started to bring up a reconstruction to the question that is supposed to be, have adults become too relatable to exercise discipline? Food for thought, chop up. Discipline is the drift. Because respect ought to come out of free evolution. If you impose it on me through culture, religion, and family, it has changed to discipline. Then we can say if an adult is too relatable, it's hard to put discipline in place. Let me just go back to the story that I brought up about Mama and Kitchen and that girl. Yes, respect was missing there. Because perhaps the young girl hasn't seen any reason to admire the lady, to hold Mama Nkechi to that high esteem, to choose Mama Nkechi as her leader. That's free will. But in order for Mama Nkechi to impose respect on that girl, discipline comes into place. Please, I'm not talking about flogging. Remove your mind from the fact that discipline means must flog you. That is not all that discipline is talking about. In this case, standards should be put in place. If this is not complied with, you are out of my store. That way, I don't think fight would have even started. Other not to bore you guys, I would like to conclude. There is a thin line between respect and relatability. Discipline. Have standards for yourself, darling. Set some rules in place that if people cross this line, I know they do again, no? Discipline. In other words, respect yourself for people to respect you. Because standards are not for the other person. Standards is for yourself. If Mama Nkechi set standards in the first place, she will not embarrass herself fighting. Standards are for you. Set standards today so that your relatability with a younger one will not turn into another thing. Thank you. God bless. I remain your very own Rema.